Alright, hello and welcome to round 3 of the 2023 Midwest Major. This is a game I played against Renato Umali. This is the first time I'd ever met or played Renato, which is a rarity. The Scrabble community is quite small, so most of the opponents that I play I've played before, or I've seen in tournaments. Not the case for Renato. So he's coming in with a rating of 1559, whereas my incoming rating was somewhere around 2075. And he hasn't played a tournament for quite a while before this one, so could be that he's underrated, could be that he's rusty and overrated. It's going to be a complete blank page. Don't know what I'm up against. And I just played against Keith Hagel. I had a very lucky game. This is the last game of the evening. And I'm hoping that I can improve to 2-1. 2-1 is much better than 1-2 in a tournament like this. The pairings were a round robin, so I was playing everybody in my division. And once again, I open with a bingo, this time Riggers for 70. And yeah, what a lucky start. 2 games in a row. Normally, if you know all of the words, you should open with a bingo 1 in every 7 games that you play. But 2 games in a row is quite the rarity, so feeling pretty lucky. But I'm not going to bingo 2 turns in a row or 3 turns this time, so hopefully the game will be a little bit more balanced, a little bit more skill-based than round 2. Renato plays Orang for 12. I like to see this play because it gets rid of decent letters, 4 of them, which means that he can't be keeping a monster with his last 3 tiles. He's going to be drawing 4 random tiles out of the bag, and he's only scored 12. So I respond with 4x, able to maximize the value of the x. It scores 45 points, and I'm already up 103. I draw the Z. Z is a very useful tile, no matter what, if you're behind, if you're ahead, but especially if you're ahead. An autoplay is nitrated, blocking what I was about to do. I could have played Tiz on the top of the O, R, and A of Orang, making 4 3-letter words. But I'll have to opt for something else, and I decide instead of playing off the Z for around 30 points, which I had the option to do, I play Outfit for 22. This is a very aggressive play. Basically, my expectation is that I'll be able to score over 40 points next turn with the Z on the triple that I just opened, or the triple on top of the TED of nitrated. Which is exactly what happens. I draw some pretty nice stuff. And because there are 2 triples open, I'm guaranteed a big play next turn. But Renato playing Shervilles, missing vehicles for 80 points through the E of nitrated. That is a common English word, but with a blank, it is so hard to spot, especially with a blank, but even without a blank, vehicles is difficult to spot. But Shervilles is a bingo nonetheless. And I decided to play Lazed here. I had Raised in the top right, and that scores a lot more. It scores 54, and this one scores 49, so it's It's a 5-point sacrifice. And the reason I did this is because I was less worried about scoring plays, which are easier to have on the top right spot because of the double letter score that's opened, and more worried about bingo plays, which are a lot more difficult to have on the top right and a lot easier on the left triple because you only need to make one overlap. And I also thought that the P and the R were a much better combination than the P and the L. Renato responds with Jimpy. And yeah, he's staying in the game.
24.
And I draw the Q, but I also draw the blank. I decide to play Qua for 24. I could have kept my A and just dropped the Q with QI on top of nitrated, the I of nitrated for 11. But keeping the A, although worth a decent amount, is not worth 13 points in this position. I'm likely enough to draw a vowel. And happy taking the extra points. So I do draw an E with an H, and I start looking for bingos. I'm looking on Renato's time. I will be looking on my own time as well. And he plays Dole, which blocks what I was going to do if I didn't find a bingo, which was play SH and Hemp onto the middle right triple, which would have scored a lot of points. But I don't get that opportunity, and I decide to play Hemp somewhere else.
30.
This is a mistake. I did have a playable bingo. Hypernym. 2 Ys. Making the blank a Y. Playing through a Y. It's a word I knew, not a word I saw. Blank bingos are the toughest place to find in Scrabble. Renato plays Renails, so takes a temporary lead, but luckily for me I draw into a bingo of my own. Serotiny. Don't know how you pronounce this word, but it's a word that most experts are aware of because it contains a lot of high probability letters. So when you study words, you'll come up with serotiny relatively quickly. It also has an anagram. If you know the anagram, let us know in the comments. So Renato scores well with WAE. And I draw the dreaded WU combination. But here it's not so bad. I'm able to use the W and the U together and score 30 points with walk.
30.
And leave myself with 2 consonants, 2 vowels. Not bad, but the B and the G are definitely not my favorite letters. I'm hoping to draw an N to pair with that G. There are 2 N's remaining. And yeah, it's a close game, very close game. Whoever draws the last S is probably going to have an edge here, all things being equal.
18.
Renato plays cab. I miss the S, but I do draw an N. And I start thinking, and I thought for a long time this turn about whether I should play the play I ended up making, or should I drop just one of the I's, play QI and IT on the top left. Because keeping BEGINT would hit a lot of 7-letter words. But I decide not to do it because it doesn't seem to make sense. After biting, I will be winning most of the games, or mostly all of the games, as long as Renato doesn't bingo. And biting also reduces his chances of doing so. And by playing QI, I might not even win the game if I bingo. So I think biting was the right choice, and there are still some threats in the position. You could bingo on top of biting, making a buy and TI and ET. You could also bingo with WAES. But Renato plays oft and leaves one tile in the bag. I was definitely relieved to see this play because it allows me to try and work out all of the endgames that are possible. With one letter left in the bag, you can think about all 8 possible racks. And I see here that as long as I block Avenges, which would have played under OFT, making TA, and I don't give a new spot, I should win this game. So I play Ilya, which is already plural, so you can't play Ilyas. And that blocks Avenges and doesn't give a spot for another bingo. And this is indeed the best play in the position. And what do I draw? But the S. So that's going to maximize the point differential. It's the best letter I could have drawn. And point differential being the tiebreaker in Scrabble tournaments is very important. So I go out with Speedo after Renato plays Ave, and the game ends 437 to 368. So yeah, this was a close game. It could have gone either way.
Well played.
And
Because like the way
I improved to 2-1,
games usually go,
as I hoped for.
why, but like
Next opponent is Carl Voss. It's going to be day 2.
fight near the end of the game, like either one.
And that's about it. Thanks for watching.
Likely to win it, like, but yeah, it's really rare that I get in situations where like really have to think about like the last few plays. By the way, the S was in the bag.
S was in the bag.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm worried about a bunch of stuff. Biting, like I could have just played my eye off. I'm hitting so many
Yes,
7-letter
yeah,
words.
that was